teenage helper sit and listen to the story and work with the child that was very nervous and wouldn't come over at first. Eventually, that child came over and we had a very successful picture. But you all know that not every child is instantly run over to. And by having lots of copies of it, there are sometimes, and it's usually girls, that are, well, I can read, well, here, you can have this copy, and then I've got another copy. So I can encourage them to track with the story, and they're more engaged. So I now this one is with paper. I have it also in, they've gotten jumped a bit. I have it also in the card version. Oh, and this one is the Peanuts Charlie Brown Christmas, a little tiny book. And this isn't really so much for reading to the child, but if I have a birthday child and it's a birthday party for them, I've had 2 of those where I've done the birthday. I added this to my box. I just bought it after Christmas when the clearance sales go in. So they had it for 50% off. I bought the Charlie Brown Christmas. And this is not much. This isn't one to really read aloud. This is dense, small pages, not many pictures, loose. This is not one really to read, but it's in my bag of books. And well, do you like books? Well, here, how about let me give you a little baby book. So I added that. Baby, small, baby, tiny. And here is Merry Christmas, Big Hungry. And I just bought this one, have not even read it yet. But before I would read it, so would you look through that one and see if that has merit in your view? Before I would put it in my bag of tricks to actually take into the room, this is the one I took. These are my extra books. But before I packed up the one that travels with me, I would decide, is this a book that's going to work for this particular audience at this time? And if there's not any one that's the 1 or 2 books that's going to work for every single group that I work with. Now, when I'm the Santa as the entertainer and I am on, the parents are often in the other room. Oh, you're in charge of child care. You're it. I'm going to go over here and talk to all these other parents, and then leave me in there with this with the kids. And so having the program to be able to run through that. So having It Was the Night Before Christmas on CD, because I actually did that one for that party. And I had a high school girl who was along. She took the CD and she went out to the car when I saw I needed it. She brought in the boom box. She put the boom box up, put it in, and she was able to get it to play, turn the volume down just for her local little tiny set, and had that little thing happen. After that was over, then I had her put in a generic Christmas song CD, and we had some background music because the family, in this case, did not have Christmas music playing, and it gave us a little bit of white noise to help cover the adult conversation going on in the other room. Comments? Questions? What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's a cute story. It's the story of the little mouse trying to protect all his presents from the big bear. He's afraid he's going to come get him, and then as he's hiding him and putting locks on all the presents, and he realizes how unhappy he is. So he unlocks them all, takes them over to the big bear, and when he gets there, the big bear had left him a prize. So it's a really good moral in that. It's hard. It's not really written. I'm not sure if I didn't read it out loud because that's the way I know if I read it out loud, then I'll know if it makes sense. But the other thing is that about what I do with reading is I love to be very animated, and I love props. And when we just did Sunday Vacation Church School, and I was supposed to, we were doing the rainforest. And mind you this, I had to connect the toucan with the story of Elijah feeding people with 20 loaves. And that wasn't easy. I had no idea. In the famine, we're doing rainforest theme. with a toucan. So, knowing that it was going to be a far-fetched that anybody was going to get the point of it, I dressed up like Mother Nature, with a wig, everything. And when I dress up, I like to be dressed up so no one knows who I am. In fact, most of the kids still don't know it's me. And so I dressed up like Mother Nature, and I talked about my BFF, Mother Earth, and we just, So there was a lot of other stuff. So when the story came, that wasn't the most important part of the whole day. It was more the presentation.
Presentation. Big thing.
And a lot of times when you're reading books too, people go, I know that story. I know that story. Great. That's great that you know the story, because that's one of my favorites. I know the story too.
How did you get that particular combination, toucan and Elijah? Were you rolling dice or?
No, they gave me that. That was my assignment. That was the assignment, and why it had to do with anything to the rainforest. Eventually, how it happened is that God took care of the people, the prophets, and with the reading, the use of plain books to feed everybody. And you know this fact about the toucan, he continues to care for his young until they're like young adults. So there was the connection that they gave me. That is really still very hard, isn't it? And we're talking about age, But anyway, because the toucan was in the rainforest, it was, somebody got paid good money to figure that out. And as the days went on, it got worse. I was just happy I was a storyteller only one day.
Somebody got paid good money, and they were throwing darts at a board.
Yes. Well, and I, like that light book, the one thing I remember more, and something that I haven't talked to Walter about this, but what I did with what I have seen with the light is that they have the LEDs, but then this one woman who had this huge, wonderful skirt, and under her skirts were very layered of different things. And one of the things under the layer was a Christmas tree with LED lights. So after the story was, then they turn off the lights, and then she is under her skirt is a whole tree.
I see the lights turning, the wheels turning.
And and you can layer those kinds of things to have puppets in them. You can layer them to be, and that's what I would like to be able to do those kinds of things.
I'll take it. So I found me another one of the light books that this one is the Christmas lights. So that would go to that story. I don't know if this was the one, but
Is there a toucan in this story?
I'll get a toucan in there.
but this one has flashing lights, sparkling lights,
Yeah.
and then it leaves the one lit. Oh, that's the last page.
That's the last page.
So all the world is filled with cheer. It goes flicker, 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 and then it leaves just the one. And then you press it again, it goes flicker, flicker, flicker. And you can do a lot with that story. And you can paraphrase this kind of storybook really easily, depending on the age group and the attention span, having the flashing lights and things going on. And now, another thing that I have done, and I haven't done this live, but when I went shopping, this was on the dollar table after Christmas, and I got 4 copies. I have another one here. I got 4 copies of this same book, and my thought is to have this story.
One to your daughter?
Good job.
To have this story and have it prepare it so that I have the story memorized because it's little, but be able to show it off. So the starts off as it's almost Christmas and Rudolph is here to help with toy making, gingerbread baking, gift wrapping, cat napping,
that's my favorite
light
page.
streaming, carol singing, high flying, and untying. Actually opening gifts. So it is a very fast read. It's not, but it is the one for the little ones. And if I know everything about the party before I go in, and I got all straight scoop, I'm in good shape. But you don't always get the straight information. All realize that. And sometimes when what you hear from what she's trying to say, because usually the wife that you're talking to, and she's describing all the things that would be there and their ages. You ask her, and yet you get there, and
They're 3 to 16.
thank you. You've been there, yes. And but having books is an easy